Now, very quickly, we got a press release yesterday in relation to the Western business community uniting to fight for Ireland West Airport Knock, seeking a meeting with Eamon Ryan and indeed Deputy Minister Hildegard Naughton. And let me go to Kenny Deery, CEO of Galway Chamber. Kenny, we spoke about Shannon a few weeks ago. We were talking about Knock. Now, again, it's a traumatic time for all involved.
It certainly is, and we spoke about Shannon, Keith, and following on from that, we had a meeting with the ministers that I know Dr. Katrina Cahill briefed you on last week, and some progress was made on that, unique to Shannon. And what we're looking for now, Keith, the Western business community have come together, which in itself is a step in the right direction. You have the chambers from Mayo, Galway and Sligo all coming together under a banner saying, listen, we're representing, aside from the personal travel, the diaspora travel and the leisure travel, which is of huge importance, we collectively represent over 1,000 members and thousands of employees in the West Coast. And Knock Airport is hugely, hugely strategic from a point of view of businesses landing in the West, and equally the viability or continuing viability of those businesses being here, because they need to be able to access international markets. And the amount of people who fly out from Knock on an afternoon flight to head off internationally from London later that evening is significant. And when we're talking with the IDA and indeed many other agencies about why should we invest and how can we, what's so good about the West of Ireland, we have so much to offer, but equally the airport offering that we have, both in terms of Shannon and indeed Knock, is a key driver in helping influence those decisions and those investments land here. And in the same as other airports, we don't want to see the unravelling of services. And Joe Gilmore and the team in Knock have invested a huge amount of time and energy since the whole crisis began in March in terms of trying to cut costs.
But when I use the word traumatic, and I use it because when you look at it, they decided indeed that flight operations from the end of March to the start of July, they were just suspended. And then on restart of that from July, the remaining staff were on a 4-day week. And from this month, they're reduced to a 3-day week. Again, there's issues with Aer Lingus and Ryanair and all that goes with it. But also there's been quite a number of staff have been made redundant and lost their jobs. And again, that's traumatic for any family member.
It is. There's a human impact behind this. And sometimes, you look at the business figures, but behind all of that, there are human beings who either are looking at their own business and how it's going to be impacted in terms to be able to get to your customers, but equally those who have been laid off and those who are really worried about what's going to happen over the next few months. And I think, again, the key thing, and I know there's so many priorities for the government, but that's why this is important, that equally we have the ministers on a meeting with the business community in the West and Ireland West, talking about the issues that are unique to that airport and the importance of that airport in the wider region, and iterating through those real human stories. And Keith, really it's about, again, we know that some degrees of funding are going to be given to the airlines, and what we're looking for is conditionality, that the airlines have to be able to maintain those routes. Because when this passes, and please God it will, and the vaccine will be found for COVID, we don't want to find ourselves in the West of Ireland where the investment of time and energy in building international routes has all been unravelled, and we're left with an airport not flying too far. And it's important there. If you look at Ireland West Airport site today, they have services to 16 countries, but yet if you look at what's arriving today, there's one flight in the afternoon that probably will have a handful of people on it. You can't run an airport on that basis. We know the travel restrictions are prohibitive, and hopefully from the meeting with the ministers, they did indicate that there is a European strategy coming together on the 13th of October to see can all the countries try and agree some sort of harmonisation. But between now and then, we need government support. There needs to be commitments around the conditionality that airlines will continue to fly to the regions, because we don't want to be a country where 40 million flights a year are going out of Dublin and the rest of our regional airports are closed.
Well, I do know we had Super Minister, indeed, Super Junior, Hildegard Naughton on Friday morning last on the programme, where she spoke very passionately about Shannon. She would have the same passion, I would think, for Knock as well. We'll just have to wait and see. So you put the call out to Eamon Ryan, you put the call out to Hildegard Naughton, and hopefully that meeting will take place very quickly. Again, that's the whole West of Ireland coming together to support the team in Ireland West Airport Knock.